What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Empire Radio Podcast. I'm Andrew,
I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
and we're talking ships. Enunciate that today. We're talking ships today. Top 5 favorite ships. If you're into starfighters, you're into ships that fly in space, and they're in Star Wars as well, you're in the right place. Saying this reminded me, there's an ad that I keep seeing on YouTube. Some of you might be seeing this as well. And it's got two people, Snoop Dogg and, Gabrielle Union. I'm so sorry. I'm blanking on her name. Huh?
Gabriella Union.
Union?
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife knows her name, and I'm blanking on her name right now. But they're talking over a video chat, and they're talking about this service called Shipped, which is they go and do the grocery shopping for you.
Oh.
And
Ship my pants.
well, it's got the same effect because she's
Yeah.
like, you're on Shipped too, but because of the way she says it, if you're not listening correctly, it's like you're on too, and you're like, I'm sorry, what? Anyways, next time you listen to that, if you hear that ad, think of me. You're gonna smile. I know you will. Anyways, yeah, we've got a fun episode planned. We're gonna be talking about starfighters and other space-faring vessels today. But first, we do have a few announcements and a voicemail. Thank you again to Jared for leaving not one, but 2 voicemails this week. So we got one this week. We'll do one next week.
Oh. So no pressure on anyone else. That's what you're saying.
Well, no,
send
everyone
in the
else.
voicemails.
Yeah, send in the
them in.
voicemails. Yeah. So thanks to Jared, we have now had 4 weeks in a row. We have a full month in a row of voicemails. But Jared can't do them all.
Nope.
We appreciate it, but he can't do them all. We've got to have more people. So if you've got a thing to say, and it's not just a blisteringly bad review of the podcast, send it on
It'll
in.
be fun though.
I mean, it would be fun.
interesting.
We'll listen to it.
As long as you keep it PG, you can rip us
Yeah.
apart, and maybe we'll play it. But we'll see.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm all for constructive criticism. So if you got it, send it in anyways. But yeah, keep sending them in. But that's not what we're talking about right now. First and foremost, here's our weekly disclaimer. We're on social media, and all of our social media accounts that I'm about to list are a great way to stay up to date. Some are better than others. I'll go over that in just a second. But here in order are the ways that you can connect with us online. 1, Facebook and Instagram, both of which are at Empire Radio Podcast. All one word, lowercase, Empire Radio Podcast. Boom. There you go. YouTube. It'd be really helpful if you would go over to YouTube, search for Empire Radio, a Star Wars podcast, and then subscribe and hit the bell icon. It really helps us out. I know that you hear this like 60 times a day on YouTube anyways, but the reason all of the YouTubers say it is because it actually makes a difference. So please do that. Twitch.tv/Empire Radio. This is going to be the way that you can actually catch the live streaming of these and live recordings of all of our podcast episodes on Tuesday nights. I'm going to say approximately 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. I say approximately because the goal is that time. So 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, but sometimes we're a little late. We've been having technical difficulties later. And if you catch a stream on Twitch, there's a likelihood that you're going to see those in real time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like a freebie, like behind the scenes thing. And then last but not least, the best way to stay in touch with us is through our Discord. So if you love Star Wars, you enjoy the podcast, you want to connect with other awesome Star Wars fans, including the 3 of us, head over to the link in our bio on Instagram and the pinned post on our Facebook. There is an invite link. You click that link, you can get the process started of getting in the Discord. We have how many, Jeremiah, at this point?
Including us, 34 people.
Nice.
That's growing. It's a party. It's a party over there. There are a lot of memes now. The meme output has gotten much more frequent, and I love it.
Yep.
It's pretty aggressive.
I made one today.
Ooh,
for the
you
first
did.
time. Yeah.
Yep.
I made Jeremiah's favorite ship. And
the funny thing is, I didn't see your little caption underneath it at first. It's like I did not get it at all.
yeah,
I'm like
you have
looking
to
at
read
this.
the caption.
Yeah.
So it's the hilt of Anakin's lightsaber, and I photoshopped some wings and an astromech head on it. and it's called the Youngling Crusher. Because Jeremiah's always talking about that scene from Revenge of the
His
Sith.
favorite
Anyways,
scene in all of Star Wars. But
so if you want to join the fun, and a lot of which is at one of the 3 of our expenses,
true.
head over to the Discord and join. So yeah, you've got a lot of ways to stay in touch with us. Twitch, the streams, and the Discord are going to be the best and the most organic, the most natural feeling, because on Twitch, it's like you're watching it. I mean, you're watching us having a conversation.
It's like it's live. Wait, it is.
It's like
yeah.
it's live. It's
Yeah.
just like it's live
Mm.
because it is. And then with Discord, that's how we stay in touch with our fans during the week. So you know what to do. Go check all of that out. Join. You're gonna think it's a great decision. You're gonna like the way you feel. I guarantee it. All right, moving on. Don't shake your head at me, Jeremiah. Moving on. Voicemail time. No, I have one more announcement. My apologies. This is what happens when you set the order of things and you forget your own order. So, in 2 weeks from today,
2
March
weeks.
the 30th.
Oh, is it?
2021.
Oh, it is.
Yes. In 2 weeks, on Tuesday, March 30th, we are having the first ever Empire Radio AMA. For those of you that don't know,
Or would it be AUA?
yeah, it would be AUA. Ask us
Okay.
anything. So, here are the rules. Okay.
That you're winging right now, making it up. Right top of your head.
No
we
one
didn't
else
discuss
needed
the
to know
rules
that. No one
beforehand,
needed to
so-
know that. The only thing I was going to say is please, please, please keep the questions like PG. The reason being is we have people of all ages listening to the podcast. We want to respect that. So you can ask us anything from things about us specifically, our personal lives. We do have the ability to vet the questions, so ask away whatever you want. We may or may not answer that. Anything about the production of the podcast, all the behind the scenes stuff, anything that we haven't covered in an episode yet. And if it's a good enough question, we probably won't answer it. We'll probably save it for another episode. But we'll tell you we're saving it for another episode. So this is your opportunity to get the answers to all of your burning questions that you haven't asked us yet. I don't know what those are.
Yeah, so
But-
if you're in the Discord, you
Yeah.
know, just go to the content suggestion channel. Probably that'll be the easiest spot to put stuff.
We might want to make a channel specifically
Just for this episode.
Yeah, or
Okay.
for the
I'll-
questions.
I'll get on that after.
Cool.
And so do that, and then also do the voicemail thing. We love doing voicemails, so that'll be the perfect time to have a whole barrage of messages that we can
Yeah.
just play right after each other and just talk about what you guys
Yeah.
want to know about us. So
So
Yeah,
it
if
will be a
you're-
combination.
If you're saving your voicemails, that would be the
That's
episode to
the
be.
time.
yep.
Yeah. So get your questions together. There is no such thing as a stupid question, unless it relates to Broom Kid from Drew's perspective.
Then that's a great question then.
Yeah, even though he is Broom Kid now. We established
Yeah.
that last week.
And if you want to see a full fun video clip, go check out our Instagram.
yeah.
IGTV. I did one this last week.
Yeah,
It was
I'm proud of
all
you,
for
man. That
Tanner.
good.
It was just
It was good.
a Tanner montage, pretty
An
much.
homage.
Yeah, that's what that was. So
But yeah, look, 2 weeks. Get your questions either in the Discord, leave us a voicemail. If you absolutely have to, hit us up on social media. But voicemail and Discord are going to be the best ways that we're going to see those questions and we're going to compile them for the episode. Like I said, it will be a combination of reading the questions from the Discord as well as listening to voicemails. So if you're going to do a voicemail and you want to say some things before you ask your question, go for it. Try to keep it as short as possible, though, so that we can make sure we can fit as many questions as possible into that episode.
Yeah.
And if we don't have anybody ask questions, then
Well,
We're just gonna
figure something
talk.
else out.
you're going to see us improvise like a boss that night. It's going to be awesome. So anyways, mark your calendars, March 30th, the first ever Empire Radio AUA. Now,
Awesome.
speaking of voicemails,
Yep.
now we've made it to the voicemail segment. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go over here, hit the voicemail. We're gonna listen. We're all gonna listen to it for the first time. I haven't heard this all the way through yet.
I've listened
Oh.
to it. Sorry.
You wait. You listened to it?
Why?
I listened to. Is this a rule that we're not
This
supposed to
is
listen
a
to these
rule.
beforehand? Because I've listened to this week's, and I'm really excited for next week's one. That the second Jared one. I'm
You're
really
kidding
excited
me.
for it.
Oh my!
I didn't know. I
Yes,
didn't know.
They're for
It was
Andrew
n-
to give to
no
us.
one ever told me in the
that's
rule
the
book
rules.
that-
These
Yeah,
are
no,
rules now.
Jeremiah's right. We technically
well,
did not actually.
from
tell him.
here on
Anyways,
out.
Jared does have a question for us. I don't know what it is. Jeremiah does. Drew doesn't.
So I've been planning my answer.
Gosh!
Wow. See, this is exactly why you were.
Okay.
Okay, let's push play.
Here's the voicemail from Jared.
Hi, Empire Radio. This is Jared making a return from a couple weeks ago. I was thinking about another good question that isn't too long, but something that might spark some interesting conversation. And I got thinking about the sequels, and we always know that goes down rabbit trails, but even with that said, I think it's still fun to kind of talk about how our perceptions have changed of them over the years. And the question I want to ask is, after The Force Awakens, who did you think Rey was, or who did you think she was related to? What was your theory before The Last
I
Jedi?
like it. I like it.
Or if you didn't really have one, why not?
I like that question. I
Great
already know my
question.
answer because
Thank you, Jared.
I know exactly what I was thinking when I left that theater.
Oh gosh.
Okay, Drew,
no.
go for it.
Luke's daughter. That was what I was thinking.
Okay,
What is? Oh gosh, that's what I thought.
that would have been the
Okay.
easiest thing.
That
for
was-
them to do.
It would have been, and that was my initial thought. And then everyone's like, Obi-Wan's granddaughter. I'm like, that's the dumbest idea ever. And yeah.
All right, Jeremiah.
Okay. Well, my answer is twofold.
Okay.
So Drew just said Obi-Wan's granddaughter was a stupid thing. Well, that was what my main thing was going to be at initially. Just because it would have been great to have Obi-Wan's granddaughter versus Anakin's grandson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it would have
I
been
thought
cool.
that would have been a great storyline. But my primary theory about Rey, that I really thought out really meticulously, because you guys know the YouTube channel Star Wars HQ.
Yes.
Yes.
They were kind of like the bigger Star Wars channel before Star Wars Theory became big, and so they did a lot of these theory videos and asked for fan submissions on their things. And I actually typed out a really long explanation for my theory of Rey that
Wow.
never got aired on the thing, so I was kind of mad
Oh.
about that. But my primary theory about Rey was that she was one of Luke's former students that would have known Kylo Ren, and she was the only survivor, and Luke hid her on Jakku to keep her safe from Kylo Ren, because
That's legit.
Kylo Ren, there's that scene when he has his tantrum where he slices up the whole council board or whatever, and he's like, there was a girl, and like, what girl? It was almost like
Yeah.
he knew of a force sensitive girl or something
Yeah.
somewhere that he was searching for,
Yeah.
and I thought she was just a little kid, and he would have been like a teenager or whatever how old he was when it happened. But I thought I got it, I figured it out, and then no, I was wrong.
Well, and that's exactly why I thought it was Luke's daughter. For those same exact reasons. Like, he hid her. She knew of Kylo. She hid, you know what I mean? It's like the same thing except just a student, but that's why I thought it was her daughter. The
Oh, and
Obi-Wan...
that was
What?
kind of why I thought she was so advanced in using the Force at the end
Yeah.
of that movie, is because she had
Oh,
prior
yeah.
training.
Gotcha.
that she was like, she forgot or...
Or Luke used a mind trick on her
to,
to
like-
forget everything
Oh,
about
and
who she was.
she unlocked it like a second season anime arc when she realizes she has the power inside her. The
I
whole
wouldn't
Yeah.
know. I've never watched it.
That's-
But Yeah. Or I always also thought maybe she was a clone of either. I originally thought she was a clone of either. I forget. I think I thought Luke at one point. Somehow. I don't remember.
Can you imagine them trying to clone him and it coming out of female and being like,
Damn.
that was not what we were thinking was going to happen.
Yeah. But my biggest thing was that she was Luke's daughter. And the Obi-Wan thing didn't make sense to me because Obi-Wan was too pure of a Jedi to ever.
You couldn't have attachments. That doesn't mean you couldn't do other things.
Oh boy. Okay. That's for another podcast. Anyways, my theory, I am going to be super lame and say that I didn't have one.
Wow.
Boo.
No, listen. And the reason being is because I couldn't, no matter how many times and how many ways I thought about it, I couldn't make it work. Like logically, I couldn't. Now, I had never thought about the
Disney couldn't make it work either. That's why they made it up.
Anyways, Jeremiah, I had never thought about that theory. That's a really good theory. But the two that were like being thrown around were like some lineage to Luke, some lineage to Obi-Wan. And either way, it's like I don't think it's going to be Luke's daughter. I highly doubt that because it's way too easy. And then with Obi-Wan, I'm like, he was on Tatooine the whole time. And Satine's dead. Like,
Oh, here's a little fun little thing. So in the Clone Wars when they're doing stuff on Mandalore and there's Satine's nephew, like Corgi or Corky.
I know. Yeah.
The fan theory is that that's actually Obi-Wan and Satine's kid, but they had to hide it and cover it all up.
Because it looks like a really interesting combination of the two of their characters.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm lame and I didn't have one. I was more so reeling from the fact that I came out of a movie theater with almost as much build-up anticipation as I had for like getting married.
Wow.
For a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. No,
listen, like as weird as it sounds.
Nope. As someone who's 100%, I feel you. I was married.
100% married.
I'm 100% married, and I 100% agree with that logic.
Yeah.
Somewhat a little bit, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like the last thing we had was Revenge of the Sith, and it's like, oh, now we're getting new Star Wars, and there was such an astronomically high level of anticipation and theorizing for that movie, and then I came out of the theater and I'm like, that was A New Hope.
Wow, that's what you thought instantly?
Oh, I
did not.
It wasn't instant. But like on the way home, because it was like an hour ride back from the theater that we went to. I remember like.
Did you go to like Como? Where did you go?
I was in North Carolina.
Oh, you were actually home.
I was home for Christmas. I was on break, and well, I wasn't on break because I wasn't a student at the time. But we went home to see my parents, and it just so happened that the night. It was like the day we got back, like the day we flew in, that was it's not a midnight premiere. It's like a 10 p.m. premiere or whatever.
Yeah.
And we went and saw it, and it was like an hour away because we went to a nice theater. And so I remember like being disappointed, but not knowing why. And then as slowly as I started processing through it, I was like, oh, it's because the plot is so similar. Like, I guess I was hoping for something different. And so, like, Rey's lineage didn't even start hitting me for, like, another month or two.
See, I never even thought it was A New Hope until, like, maybe, like, a day or... Yeah, someone explained it.
Someone had to explain it to me. And even
I didn't get glass... I think the
only similarity, really, like, that's...
I mean, there's a lot.
The Star Killer based thing. Like, that's
no,
just
there's a lot.
But you could compare A New Hope to, like, some random other movie and it's the same structure. There's like 10 plot lines.
Like a trash can, Jeremiah?
Huh? Yeah. Like Sesame Street. There's a trash can in there.
God.
All
right, look. Anyways. Jared, you've done it again. Don't feel bad about it.
I'm
We
really
love-
excited for next week's one. His second message.
Oh
that he sent.
God.
Okay, well,
It's a
I'm
really
gonna
good
listen
one.
to it, and I'm gonna
It's-
have an answer ready too, and then
Wow!
Drew's gonna be
It-
SOL.
Honestly, it's something. It would probably be best if you did plan out ahead of time, though. Your answer, though.
Nope. I'm sticking to the notion of being surprised
And
because that's the
and the
whole
thing is,
point of voicemails.
The question is more so up your two guys' alleys than it is mine.
That means it's probably about the expanding universe.
Or a book.
No.
That's not the book. About
Said,
any
or a book.
just any book.
All right. Well, look, we're gonna fly on over and talk about ships. I didn't even realize that there was like a pun there
There was.
until it came out of my mouth. So
We're gonna fly
let's-
on over and talk about what we flew in.
Maybe. Here we go. All right. Spaceships.
Yep.
Spaceships. We're talking about our top 5. We're doing another one of our classic Empire Radio ranking episodes.
The rank.
Yep. And
Starting
people,
with number 5. We're going to
Yep.
get to number 2. We're going to do some honorable mentions, and then we're going to give our number 1.
Yep. So this has been a question that fans have been asking for months now,
A few,
Bunch of
yeah,
them.
yeah, like a few people.
and so
I'm surprised we haven't done it yet.
the time has come.
Well, I mean, we've had
We've
things
been
on the
busy.
schedule, Drew.
We've been
Yeah.
busy.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with number 5, like I said. And then who would like to go first? Cool, I'll go.
All right.
Since no one jumped on that. Okay, so we're gonna dive right in. So my number 5 is the Naboo Starfighter.
Wow.
The yellow one.
Yes. So the Naboo Starfighter.
Anakin's one. With
Just any of them. I mean, yeah. any
Come
of
on,
them.
say Anakin's. Come on.
So I fell in love with this Starfighter when I watched The Phantom Menace the first time. I don't know what it was. I loved the profile. I loved the design. I love like the cockpit, how it. Tanner, I just looked down and I've got in the chat from Tanner. Is it because spinning is a good trick? Spinning is always a good trick, and that is why.
Too
It's part of the reason.
soon.
Anyways, so I love that the cockpit like slid forward. I don't know why. It was just a design thing that I loved. I loved that part.
That
And they sound cool. I mean, like they look cool. So here's the cool thing. I did some research on some of the ones that are in my top 5. Not all of them.
I should have
but
done
some of
that.
them.
I didn't do like deep. Man.
I just watched a few YouTube videos and took some notes. It's not like I went into my Star Wars library and like sat down with a cup of
well,
coffee.
I have my Star Wars book here.
Yeah. Anyways, so these starfighters predated, obviously, the Clone Wars, and it was back during a time where the Republic had no official military or navy or anything like
Yeah.
that, and so regional systems would create their own defense force type things to protect their planets and whatnot. So these starfighters at the time were really like advanced in comparison to other like similar defense craft in the sense that one, they had a mid-range hyperdrive, so they couldn't go super long distances. Like you wouldn't be able to get from Naboo to Coruscant on a single hyperdrive jump, but they did have hyperdrives that not very many other ships of that size had. It was like the first version too that was like small enough to
Well,
be
you can
fit
even
into a starfighter.
I was gonna say you can even tell by their like headgear was very first. Like it was like leather helmets. It was
Yeah.
like OG football helmets. That's what that
So
reminded
fun
me
fact, all of the defense pilots, they were very well trained. They're all volunteer. Bet you didn't know that.
of. Nope, because I
Also,
didn't do research, but yeah.
yeah, the king of Naboo at the time, who commissioned the creation of these starfighters, chose the gold color and the design because of its representation of the finer points of Naboo architecture, and the silver bit on the front that is chromium was only painted or covered on starfighters that were in commission to defend some part of the royal family.
Ooh.
So not all of them had that. Those are the only ones we saw, but not a. It was
Not-
specifically
they didn't
assembled
all have
of,
that.
like, right, of like the Royal Guard. So they had two rapid fire laser cannons, a proton torpedo launcher that held like 6 rounds or something like that underneath, deflector shields, and they were extremely fast and extremely maneuverable. And I remember there was something about the laser spread when they shot out. It was very tight, and so they had the ability to like fight really, really well in close quarters with other ships in space, and then like get out. So like get in, do some stuff, and get out. Long trips. This is a final fact. Long trips. If they were doing like political mission or like an escort or something like that, the capital ship or the main ship, the transport, would often have under the wing docking bays for them so that they could refuel and then jump the rest of the way to Coruscant in hyperspace.
Ooh.
So now that I have like really solidified myself as a certified Star Wars nerd, who wants to go next?
Well, I can follow that up.
Okay.
This might be on Jeremiah's list, but my number 5 is the Ghost. No?
Not on my list.
Oh, well.
It's not on my list either.
Wow, okay. Well-
This was a struggle. I just want to make note.
Is it on
For
your
everyone.
honorable missions at least?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. But this was hard. This one was hard for me.
Cool. Well,
This one was hard. This top 5 was hard for me because, like,
He hasn't read any books.
like the whole ship thing isn't really interesting to me.
Oh.
Like,
Bah.
it's
That's
just like
Boo.
because like honestly, there's only 1 or 2 on my list that like I actually care about.
Huh.
And
Okay.
so like the other ones, right? Okay, now I gotta fit.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta find some other ones to add to my list that are.
So you
like-
just, like,
First half of your list
randomly
is
threw-
trash.
Well, actually, I kind of just. The top one is like the only one that really matters to me. So. number one, but
Okay.
So you
well,
could take these my 5 through 2 as kind of like all interchangeable, I guess you could say.
Great.
Sorry, guys.
All right. Well, Drew,
there's Jeremiah for you guys.
back to
God.
the ghost.
I gotta hear all the memes coming in already.
Yep, Tanner,
and all
get
the
to
laughs.
work. Yeah, anyways, and if you guys are listeners, you guys don't know, Tanner is our honorable meme dude, just so you guys know.
The bomb bad.
So when we say Tanner, get to work, that means make memes of Jeremiah mostly. But anyways, the Ghost. I like the Ghost. I thought it's a really big ship. And I just think
It
it's
is.
really cool and really interesting because of that. Like in Rebels, when they get in and out of but anyways, so when the Rebels, like when that group get in and out of situations, it always kind of like blew my mind how fast they could with such a big ship. And it seems
it's a fast.
yeah,
ship
it
for its
seems
size.
really
Also,
quick.
Hera is the pilot, so
That's
And Hera is dope. And I think
Yeah.
more than anything, I like the Ghost because of what I'm more associate my ships with the pilots more than anything, and that's kind of how I picked my list. And so like Hera like is a really good pilot, and I just love seeing the Ghost in Rebels and like how they created this ship to make it like a ghost. Like it was in and out, but it's so big. It's so surprising to me that it is like secretive still with how
Well,
big it is.
And it also has like a pretty advanced sensor array,
Mhm.
and it doesn't have a cloaking device, but it has like some pretty advanced sensor jamming capabilities.
Yeah.
And so, like that's part of it is like
Yeah.
they had the ability to slip in and out undetected because of the technology on the ship. And like I agree with you 100%. Like it's big, but at the same time it's really small for what it is, because it's got like a living quarters and a cargo bay.
Yeah,
and,
it's-
like detachable.
They all
ship,
have their
like
own
a-
rooms. It's just like
Yeah.
it's huge, but then they have like like you said, like another ship inside of it that they can go out and do certain missions on. And then I just love what they did with that in that show. And so for me, I'm like, well, I love that show so much. This has to be. It was gonna be in my honorable mentions, but I'm like, I'll just put this on my top 5, like my last one, because I liked it a lot. So that's
Sweet.
the Ghost, Jeremiah.
All right, here we go.
Oh gosh. So
Now
I
this
went
is pod
with
racing.
TIE Interceptors slash Kylo Ren silencer.
Oh,
'Cause I think
yeah.
that's
His
kind of like
silencer is cool.
It's pretty dope.
it's like a kind of interceptor because it's the same kind of like pointed wing type
Yeah.
thing. But
Mhm.
so I just think of all like the TIE type things, Empire stuff, like I think that's the best.
Would you put
design, like,
Vader's in that too, kind of, or no?
I would because it's like
different.
the bomber, kind of like a bomber.
Yeah.
Same design as the bomber, but like I don't know. I just like the pointy wing things, and it's just I like how Kylo did the spinning trick in Episode 8.
Well, and
It is a good trick.
He took his grandfather's advice, and he was a
Yeah.
good trick.
and
So
also
I
that
like it.
Kylo's has a unique sound to it compared to the other TIE fighters, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool TIE variants,
yeah,
especially in the expanded universe that are really cool. They're really cool designs. The one that I think did not get enough credit or screen time was the oh man, I just read the name of this thing earlier today and I forgot it. But
the
it's
one from Rogue One.
No,
Oh.
no, that one was whatever. The I'm talking about the heavy TIE fighter from Solo. That it was like heavier,
Oh, yeah,
it
yeah,
had
yeah.
heavier armament.
I know what you're
than-
talking about.
It wasn't a bomber, but it had like an extended middle section, and it had like a heavy cannon mounted on it, and it had a lot
Oh.
more weapons and stuff.
Mhm.
It's super cool, and it like just they just threw it away essentially when they were in the mall. So, anyways, yeah,
Number 4.
number 4.
four.
Here we go. Number 4, the Rogue Shadow from The Force Unleashed.
You're gonna have to yeah.
Describe that one for us.
Describe
Okay.
it.
So the Rogue Shadow. So here's my train of thought. So I was gonna put Darth Maul's scimitar on there, the Sith infiltrator, right? But then, for the same reasons that I would have picked that ship, the Rogue Shadow was there, and the Rogue Shadow was based on the scimitar in the expanding universe. So the Rogue Shadow was piloted by Juno Eclipse, who is like Starkiller's 7th or 8th pilot, because they kept being killed.
Damn. GG.
Work-related accidents that may or may not have been related to Vader.
Just choking people
Anyways.
out, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so this ship was it didn't do anything like crazy extravagant in The Force Unleashed, but the whole idea behind it was it was a stealth ship. Like, sure, it had the capabilities to fight, it needed to, but it was extremely fast, and it had a unique cloaking device that was based on, it wasn't a kyber crystal, but it was an alternative lightsaber crystal
Ooh, that's
that-
cool.
that allowed it to be completely cloaked, sensors and from sight. So it would wrap. I mean, it's like the invisibility cloak in Harry Potter, essentially.
Oh, cool.
So it could go completely invisible. It would go invisible on scanners. And
Well,
the benefit
what is
of
that from?
was
Is it from the game you said?
The Force Unleashed 1 and 2. Yeah, it looks really strange. It looks kind of like the midsection kind of looks like something out of the Old Republic, but then it's got like some TIE Fighter-esque, like TIE Interceptor-esque, like panels coming off each side. But it was extremely powerful as a reconnaissance vessel. And get this, sublight. First of all, it had an incredibly fast hyperdrive, but sublight, it was the fastest ship in the Imperial fleet. Like, of all of the ships.
Could it go
It was the
faster than
fastest.
than Han Solo's Kessel Run?
Oh, it could have destroyed his time.
Oh.
It's extremely fast. But the cool thing about this ship is that it's kind of like the Ghost in the sense that it had living quarters and a meditation chamber that also doubled as like a training chamber for Starkiller. And, you know,
Does it have like the two X-wing or not X-wing, TIE fighter things on the side of it?
They're kind of sticking out. Yeah, it's kind of asymmetrical too in design, but it's just a really cool spy ship essentially. Very fast, very agile, and what it might lack in like combat maneuverability, it more than makes up for in its ability. Because like that's what Starkiller was like. He got in, he did his thing, and he left, and the goal was to not leave a trace, you know. And the ship really suited him well. So that's my number 4.
Drew.
All right, my number 4 is the Land Crash class Empire shuttle.
Ah,
Oh, that's a good one. I totally forgot about that one.
very triangular.
Yes,
I
I
feel like there's a million ships that like I would have
that's
on my list.
that's a cute choice.
okay.
Anger, and not anger. The angles, a cute
Yeah.
triangle.
Boom.
Thank you.
We got some booze in the chat and everything.
Yeah, Tanner goes
But
boo.
yeah, I like that ship. I think it's really unique. And also I just see that image when Palpatine walks off of it and Vader is bowing to him. Like that scene was so iconic when I first saw it, and I was so scared as a little kid watching that scene. So like, and it was really cool that once like Luke and them like stole one and they drove it in, and like that was like the first time like they snuck into the Imperial. Like it was just such a cool what they did with that ship was so cool. And when I see it to this day, I'm like, oh, I would love to own a toy of that ship. So. And I mean, come on, we're the Empire. We gotta
Fun fact:
rock those.
I have the Lego version of the troop transport version of that ship.
Oh.
So it's like not the exact same thing, but I have a Lambda class shuttle. It's on top of my bookcase. It has all my Star Wars books in it. So
That's sick. Yeah, I
Fun.
just really enjoy that ship, so I picked that one. I know there's a bunch of details about that ship, but I don't know them
It's
off
fine.
the top of my head. But
all right,
that's my number 4.
Marajaya.
Huh?
Marajaya.
I thought you said like Mary Jade for a second. I was like, what?
Mara Jade.
Yep.
Oh,
All right. So number 4. So there's the actual name of the ship, and then there's like probably what fans know it more as. So I'm gonna say the actual name of the ship and see if you guys can guess what it is, and hopefully I can pronounce it correctly.
Oh Lord.
The Comric class fighter. KOM''RK. Comric class fighter. No guess?
No.
Probably more commonly known as the Gauntlet Starfighter. It's the Mandalorian ship. That Bo-Katan
Razor-
flies in
Oh,
the Mandalorian.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Mandalorian.
I literally saw that
I was like, what?
with a completely different name today on StarWars.com.
What?
Oh,
What do
really?
they call it?
It might have been a specific ship, but it was the same type. I don't remember. Anyways,
Just
like the design of like the really wide
yeah.
wings,
spin.
and then but then it like when it lands, it like folds kind of like
Mhm.
the Slave One a little bit.
Well,
like,
and
how
in
it's
the
kinda
Mandalorian, we saw it in the background, and it's
Yeah.
really cool.
So I
Yeah.
just
It's a cool
think those
ship.
Mandalorian ships are really cool, and
Tanner did get it right in the chat, just so you know, Jeremiah. So
Tanner, he knows what's up.
he does. Wow.
But yeah, that's my
It-
number 4.
Okay.
That's it. I don't know what to say.
All right.
all right.
Moving on to number 3. Mine is okay. I'm gonna split some hairs with this one. It's not technically a starship,
No.
but it can fly in space. It is the LAAT gunship.
I mean, it's not a ship.
How's that not a ship?
It's technically low altitude. That's what it stands for, low altitude attack transport. It's supposed to be like a thing
it's
that I know
ship, not
I
starship,
know,
is what
I
our.
know.
So like,
I just wanted to make sure that if there was any pushback, I could justify what I was choosing. So if I had to choose one, it would be the one from Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, the blue with the
Oh,
the World War II plane
Yeah.
Mhm.
paint on it on the front with the mouth. But anyways,
True. That
these
one's
things
dope.
these things are so cool. Like, just there's everything about them. First of all, they're super heavily armed. They've got the 2 front turrets. They've got the 2 ball turrets. They've got 2 ball turrets on the wings that are actually uh, completely controlled by the co-pilot. And then, did you know that and they've got the turret on the back, the very back. But did you know that the 2 cannons on top could be used to fire a multitude of different projectiles?
No, I didn't.
Bet you're glad that I watched some YouTube videos, huh? So listen, they fired a bunch of different things depending on the situation that they needed to use it in, right? So of course we see the traditional rockets in Attack of the Clones, and like 99% of the time, but they had ones that could shoot like ion rockets that were specifically, targeted at other ships or electronics. They could shoot ones that like literally just released heat and fire. Like the whole purpose was to actually release extra amounts of heat to melt things. They had some that could release radiation. I'm not entirely sure why, but they had them. And so the crazy thing is it could hold up to 30 troops, 2 speeder bikes at least, and they all came outfitted with a medical droid,
Ooh,
a
that's
small
cool.
medical droid
Oh, that's
for
cool.
every gunship. Excuse me. So Tanner said that sounds like a war crime. I'm pretty sure it is, the radiation thing. And when I heard that, I was like, they're primarily fighting droids, so that's something extra that is not good.
That could be used for Order 66.
Potentially, yeah. So anyways, they were super heavily armed. They're very versatile craft. Obviously, we know that they transported troops. They also transported other vehicles like the ATTEs, and then the taser cannons, whatever those things are called, that they use on the Zillow Beast. Poor thing.
Yeah, those are
And
that's so cool though when they shoot it like that.
ah,
Not at them. I'm just saying when they use them.
oh, I was like, man, first the younglings, now the Zillow Beast.
No.
It's going downhill.
There's only
Anyway,
one
so-
animal I enjoy getting killed in Star Wars, and you guys all know who that would be.
Tauntaun.
Heck yeah.
All right.
So warm.
So, anyways, I just remember seeing those in Attack of the Clones and being like, it's like flying tanks. Those things are so cool. So,
They're pretty cool.
and here's a fun fact: from a Venator class assault cruiser, what they would do is they would align the gunships in groups of 2,000 troops. So they would have enough gunships, full gunships, that they could just send 2,000 troops down. And then they literally just came back and got 2,000 more. So the goal was an organized like wave structure to just blatantly overwhelm the enemy. So it was a common tactic.
Cool.
Yep. Drew.
All right, my number 3 is the. You guys know it, you love it. Mando ship, the Razor Crest. And I like for the little bit that we had it, I loved it.
It's a good ship.
It's a really cool ship. I like the design of it. It's a little bulky, it's a little outdated, but because of that, Mando was able to do so much secretive stuff with it, and it didn't even have its tabs, and it was just a really cool ship. And I almost teared up when it got blown up, and I was still deeply hoping that it wasn't actually blown up when it blown up. So
How do you hope that it wasn't blown
like
up? when
I don't know,
saw it?
like
Moff Gideon literally
We-
replaces it with like a model just
Yeah,
to make Mando
just-
sad.
yeah,
The only way it
He
would have
blows up
worked.
and he's like, got him. Ah.
The only way it would have worked if that was like a force vision that Grogu was having when he was meditating. That was gonna blow, and then he came out of the thing and like
that would have
force
been cool.
pushed it out of the
None of
way right before it got blown up, and then
That would have been sick. But yeah, I really love the ship. I was really sad that it actually blown up, and And the reason why I was hoping that didn't like fully break or whatever is because like I mean we've seen that completely destroyed and put back together, So
Not
It
to
was
that
taken
extent, though.
apart and put
Yeah.
back together.
yeah, well I know, but I was hoping. I was like, no, there's no way it's broken. And then when he's digging through the rubble, I was like, no, this thing is gone.
It's fricked.
It's
Yeah.
done. So, and I really like it a lot because of that, and I'm really excited to see with season 3 what ship he could get. And so it just brings a lot of like joy to me seeing that ship and the potential what ship could happen, and so that's why it's on my list.
All right. So
Jeremiah.
this next one is very like it's specific, but it's also like could cover like a wide range of ships. And so I went with Star Destroyers
Okay.
because that there's like a million variants because you see the main Star Destroyers that we have in like the original trilogy and the sequels, but like are like the large cruisers in Clone Wars considered Star Destroyers? Like are they even, I don't even remember if they're referred to as Star Destroyers in the Clone Wars.
No,
Mm-mm.
it was a slightly different class, but the interdictor cruisers were super cool.
Yeah, because like, but they're still like similar design though, which is why I kind of like, because it seems like a lot of the stuff in the prequels were just, the blueprints for what would be the more
Yeah.
advanced things in the future. So like,
Right.
I don't know. I just think the Star Destroyers are just cool designs of just like the triangle shape with like the bridge sticking out and
Yep.
just their capabilities of having so many troops and ships and what they can transport and stuff. I just think it's a cool design. And it's very menacing.
Yeah.
Like honestly, a really great scene from what's episode 8 was when at the beginning when they come out of hyperspace, but you see them come
Yeah.
from hyperspace from the planet's perspective.
Yeah.
Like that's super scary that you just
Yeah.
see that come out of nowhere and you know that it means business.
Yeah.
And so
Or
I
even
just think
like from the planet's view when they like are sitting over top of planets, like in Rogue One when it's just sitting up there.
Yeah.
over Jeddah City or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
like
pretty,
that
was pretty
was
cool.
that was a really cool like to see how big those things are. It's
Yeah.
really cool. Or even like in the Force Awakens when like Rey's in it and stuff like that, and like tearing it apart, like taking parts of it and trying to sell it. Like you don't really realize how big they are until
Right.
you have a
Yeah.
perspective like that. And like in Jeddah City was like the biggest one. Where like, oh, like they're sitting there, and then once it starts to move, they're like, all right, something bad's about to actually happen because it's leaving, and it has
I
like
was gonna say their crews are. I could be getting this wrong. So if someone knows in the chat, please let me know. But I'm pretty sure it was like upwards of 10,000 people.
yeah, it was
I think
a
it's
lot.
like maybe even 20,000. I think the larger ones.
So here's to put it into perspective. My entire hometown that I grew up in
Could fit in one of those.
was like just over 9,000 people. So we're talking my entire hometown plus more to fully run one of these things like that. That's insane.
Yeah.
And then Jeremiah, the books go a long way to like broaden your appreciation of those, especially the Thrawn ones, because you begin to see like their tactical and their
Intimidating.
like their military capabilities, and it's really cool to see a Star Destroyer be used really effectively. Because like in the movies, it's just like, oh, they're clumsy and they're like running into one another and
They
shooting at
crash
something.
or whatever.
Yeah, but like in the books, especially when Thrawn's behind one of them, it's like, oh, there's a reason why these things strike fear into people.
Well,
And it's-
even in the season 3 finale of Rebels, when there's when Thrawn has the blockade on their base, and he like how he tactically uses them, and if he's like just do it my way and we'll be fine, and then the one guy moves his position and it ruins the whole thing. But like, yeah, like they can make you crap your pants if you see them.
Yeah, for sure. Like I spoilers 3, 2, 1, but in the Lost Star, the ship that Rey is going through in the last part of it, we see it crash on that planet, and that's like leading into Rey going through it at one point. So like, it talks about all the people had to evacuate before it crashed, and it was a very intense scene in that book. And so, and it's also 37,000 people.
Yeah, Tanner said over 37,000
But yeah,
plus 9,700 stormtroopers. That's crazy.
wow. So yeah, it's a lot of people, and when one of those blows up, a lot of people die. And like, just imagine what the Death Star, like, it's a lot of people.
All right.
Just saying.
Well, number 2. Speaking of the Empire, number 2 for me is the TIE Defender.
Solid.
I love the TIE Defender. It's not the most beautiful looking ship, but it was the fastest cannon TIE variant. It had a top speed of upwards of 1,044 miles per hour.
Dang.
1,044 miles per hour. That's insane. That is so fast. But on top of that, it was 5 times the cost of a normal TIE fighter. So they were about 300,000 credits a pop, which a normal TIE fighter was like around 60,000 credits. And then it was 2 times the cost of an X-Wing at around 150, 160,000 credits. But obviously in canon, what are you laughing at?
I just love that you're like doing credits, or like, what's the value of credits to the dollar? Like, we don't know this, so he's
We're
just
not
like,
gonna- it
he's
doesn't
just
matter.
like,
I just looked it up on Wikipedia, and yes, it's $300,000. But did you see what the cost of a used one is?
no,
Wait,
enlighten me.
that's a thing.
It's on Wikipedia for the TIE Defender. Had a $300,000 for new. How much do you think a used one is? Keep in mind they only had like prototypes, like, so I don't know how you can get a used one, but
A used one's probably more expensive.
no, it's 80,000. Super affordable.
What? It's so
Super
funny because
affordable.
like in the music market, if it's like an instrument and it's out of production and it's old and you can't find it anywhere, it's like, $2 million to do it. It's like,
Yeah, it's like more. It's like the same with toys.
it's
Like,
it's stupid.
the older the
Anyways,
toy, the more expensive it is.
So what you're saying is we need to find stimulus checks comes in, the stimmy hits.
You better buy
and
that ship.
We're gonna buy a used one. Get on Carvana real quick.
How many
and-
kids do you have that you can get $80,000 for? If it's $1,400 a kid.
I have a lot of cats, and we're gonna list them as dependents.
That'd be
No, I only have
nice.
one cat.
Hopefully the IRS isn't listening to this right now, so.
Tanner says you can adopt me. Oh man, even if I adopted everyone in the Discord, it still wouldn't be enough.
Either way,
It would be a good
we
chunk of
don't know
change.
the value from dollars to credits, so this
Anyways.
does not
Right,
matter.
that is true. It's not the same.
It could be
That's true.
less or more. We don't know.
Yeah. So, anyways, the Defender, as we know from Rebels, was the pinnacle of TIE fighter technology. It was extremely fast. It had better shields, better armor. It had a hyperdrive, which was something that no other TIE fighter had, except for maybe Darth Vader's. I don't even remember if his did. No, it did.
Yeah, his
'Cause
did. Yep.
He jumps out of hyperspace in Rebels too. Yeah. Anyways, so it's like the only other TIE fighter that has one. Still didn't have life support. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but the reason why the TIE fighter pilots have to wear those helmets,
It's because they can't breathe.
they don't have life support inside their TIE fighters. Which was a huge improvement in The Force Awakens when Poe and Finn get in one, because they're able to fly away and not suffocate. But
Well, it doesn't Kylo Ren even take his helmet off in one of them too?
yeah,
Like
I mean,
he's
the First
riding-
Order solved the problem for sure. But the Imperial TIE fighters did not have life support.
Interesting.
But it also had, so each one of the wings had 2 cannons, and the first iteration of the TIE Defender had the 2 bottom wings had just 4 laser cannons, and the top 2 could be configured to a few different things, most notably ion cannons. And then the second version, which we also see in Rebels, just had 6 cannons. But they were faster, they were more durable. We saw in the episode of Rebels that like they meant serious business when they had a skilled pilot behind them. It was stated that one TIE Defender could do the work of 4 standard TIEs because of how well it was made. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. If they had done the TIE Defender program, the rebellion would have lost.
Truth.
Here's the interesting thing. The TIE Defender also existed in the expanded universe, and I did not know that. But it was almost the same design, but it was a very effective ship, and they used them a lot more. It actually made a few non-canon game appearances and in some of the old games, and they used them up to like 30 or 40 years after the Galactic Empire in non-canon, including, I believe, during the Yuzong Vong War, but I don't know if that's actually true or not. Anyways, TIE Defender, it's cool, super cool.
Jeremiah,
I like it too. Huh?
And Jeremiah, do you remember in that what's that ship game that we just beat? That was
Squadrons.
Squadron. Do you remember the guy who had his life support? He had to wear it because the accident he had, it was stuck to him.
Yeah.
Was he piloting a TIE Defender? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
Okay, I don't remember. But
I don't remember much for that game because there wasn't much to remember.
Truth. But I like at one point I think you can play through all like their ships or whatever, and I don't remember if he did that one. But like you were talking about like life support, like you guys remember like that character was really cool because he almost died, and because of that though he had to stay on his life support, and so he couldn't even take off his helmet. It was a really like interesting take on like a TIE fighter person. It was really cool. That was like the coolest thing from. It was the coolest thing though from the entire game, hands down.
All right.
But yeah, TIE Defenders, that was a good one because I just like the story of it in Rebels and how, like you said, if the Rebels didn't complete their mission by destroying the production facility on Lothal, like Krennic would have lost funding for the Death Star. And
fun fact.
Oh, here we go.
If you read the 3rd Thrawn book.
Hey, spoilers! I haven't finished it.
Oh, but you started it. You've gotten through like the first few chapters.
Well, yeah.
So basically, the Emperor pits Thrawn. He basically says, Thrawn, if you can solve a problem in the supply chains for the Death Star, I will consider giving you your funding. But it's on the table at the very beginning of the book. It's like, who's going to get the funding? Stardust or the TIE Defender program?
Interesting.
And
Stardust.
I think the whole Death Star thing was a stupid idea, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, really?
Yeah, I think it was stupid.
Well, yeah.
Well, we might
that can be like a cantina discussion later. Like, why did you think the Death Star was stupid?
Yeah.
We can talk about it later.
Cool. So that was your number 2. My number 2. You know it. You love it. The Millennium Falcon.
It's not on my list.
Wow. Wow. Why not?
Wow.
I love
like Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Hey, wow, you do a good impression.
I
You
didn't
spend
even
enough
try.
time at North Central, you get good at it. It was something a lot of people did.
Must have been after I left.
Yeah, it
phase.
was after
Yeah.
your time.
Yep.
Anyways, the Millennium Falcon, it's a really cool, underrated ship from everyone but Han Solo. And I like it. I don't know. I don't like the variant that we got in Solo. I thought it was really stupid with the cockpit shooting thingy. I thought that was really ugly looking. Escape pod.
I just want you to know that I was literally about to say, if it hadn't gotten wrecked and it stayed nice like it was in Solo, I would have liked it more.
Wow, I don't like the look.
It's just clean. It's
No,
the
like
same thing.
with the escape
escape
pod.
pod.
I don't like the way that looked. I don't know
Well, but
because
then he got rid of it.
it was ugly.
No,
No,
because
I know. But I like the Millennium Falcon. I think it's really cool. It when you think of Star Wars, you think of the Millennium Falcon too. Like that's just one of the ships that you automatically think of, and that's why it's on my list. It's on my number one, but like my first and second are probably very predictable. But anyways, like
your first is very predictable.
yeah, shush. But the Millennium Falcon is just really cool to me, and like growing up as a kid, I loved it, and I loved the scene. Jeremiah probably doesn't remember this, but in A New Hope, when they're hiding underneath
Oh,
and
yeah,
in
yeah.
the storage, and I
I
just
mean,
thought
that
it
was
was.
the second half.
I don't.
So,
Was it? It was really close to not being.
oh my god.
It was close enough that Jeremiah might not remember it. Either or.
Fades. It goes. It's like hardcore trash pile, and then it fades into like meadows, and so it might be kind of where it's in the
It's like in between. It's
in between where I might
it's-
remember, I might not remember it.
exactly. So I'm just trying to remind him, Andrew.
Oh,
Either
okay.
way, Jeremiah, they hide in the cargo hold, and the troopers didn't see them, and then they beat them up, and they take their outfits, just so you remember. But either way, I just think the Millennium Falcon is really cool. Someone that has been to Galaxy's Edge, sitting,
Oh,
Weird
si-
flex. Okay. Okay.
dang. How
sitting
many times, Drew? How many times?
3 times. But
Wow.
but anyways, sitting in the Millennium Falcon, sitting in like on the table where they play chess or whatever the game is. I forget the real name. Don't get mad at me. But either way, like it was so cool, and I loved it. I love sitting in the cockpit of it too. And I'm not trying to flex, but I just really love the Millennium Falcon because of what it brought to my life, and I like it. So that's my number
That's
two.
fair. Tanner says, nope, the T-16 Skyhopper is what I think of when he thinks of Star Wars. Got a bullseye, then womp rats.
Okay,
That's funny.
but
Jeremiah,
All right. So
number 2. Give it to
number
us.
2 is one that's been already mentioned already,
ooh,
but it's the LAAT, the Lats.
Yes.
I really like them.
that's why he defended that.
Welcome to the
Yeah, I was
flying
like, it better be
the-
a Star
It's on my list.
It's
Yeah.
on my list.
Welcome to the flying space minivan club.
I just think it's a cool design, and because I
Yeah.
love Clone Wars era stuff the most,
Sweet.
like it's just iconic of the Clone Wars, and I like how when I see one of those paperclip things, it looks exactly like one, and
Yes,
I think of Star
yes.
Wars. So it's just a cool design that I wish I had one.
Sweet.
All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's dope.
All right, before we go into our honorable mentions, let
Mhm.
me be able to speak for a second. Before we go into our honorable mentions, we have another honorable mention, and that is the sponsor of today's episode.
Yep.
So why don't we just cut to the chase and take a listen? Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor for today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that they have a subscription service that gets those amazing coffee beans delivered to your door on an either weekly, bi-weekly, or a monthly basis. Unfortunately, we're all being negatively affected by this virus right now. With that being said, what a better time to try some new coffee and support a local business. I know they'll greatly appreciate it, and we will too. After all, using the code Empire Radio with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, when you start a new subscription at wesleyandrews.cc, you'll get 50% off your first purchase. I can't think of a better deal. Get 50% off, support a local Minneapolis coffee shop, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it. Do it.
Do it.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to laugh at right coming out of there, but for those of you that don't know, Jeremiah had a whole slew of bubble wrap that he just presented to us during the ad. on our video feed, and
It was
Tanner,
so weird.
the VI, the MVP of the chat tonight, said, "Love me some enslaved air." And I read that as I was about to start talking.
Should I pop them on
Anyways,
air to free them?
No,
No.
Should
No. You
I
can
don't wanna
free
have
them
to
on
edit
your own
around that.
time.
Jeremiah,
I free some air, one of them.
please, no. I
No.
don't want to have to deal with that. The editing.
I just poke it.
No. Okay.
There, I freed some air.
All right. So, anyways, go get a coffee subscription if you have the ability to.
Yes.
You're not going to regret it. If you don't want to get a subscription, but you want to get just a single bag of coffee, consider the Wesley Andrews Empire Radio collaboration Rule of Two coffee blend. It's a special thing that we're doing with Wesley Andrews, but we need 7 people to commit to purchasing a bag for $25 before we can roast a new batch. So if you want a bag, let us know in the Discord, let us know in a direct message on our social media. And once we have 7 people together, we'll do some roasting. I finally got some filters. They finally came in, and I've been drinking that. The last
Nice.
little bit that I have is really good. So, all right.
Alrighty.
So now, honorable mentions. I'm going to do mine rapid fire
Wow.
because I have a few of them. So we've already talked about this one, Star Destroyer. Love a good Star Destroyer,
Me too.
especially because of Thrawn.
It's on my list.
Yeah. The second generation Jedi Starfighter, those are really cool. The Sith Enforcer / Maul Scimitar, same reasons as the Rogue Shadow. I just think the Rogue Shadow is cooler. And last but surely not least, a recent addition to the Star Wars canon, the Jedi Vector.
Ooh.
Oh,
I think they're super cool, and it was so close to making my number 5 spot instead of the Naboo Starfighter. And honestly, now that I remembered that it's in my honorable mentions, there's a part of me that wants to change my
Can't.
5 to that.
Can't.
I'm not, but I loved that concept of like, here's a super stripped down ship, intentionally made that way so that a Jedi, a Force user, can feel all the subtleties of flying it
Yeah.
and use that to their advantage as they pilot while using the Force.
Yeah, that's
super
cool.
cool concept. Also really cool that their lightsaber was the key to the weapon systems, and then that the lasers were the same color.
Mm-hmm.
That was super cool. And I just think they look really, really cool. They're super small. They're fast. Very, very effective in the hands of a Force user. So yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Cool.
Drew?
I just have a couple. A-Wing. We haven't talked about the A-Wing. I
Yeah, A-Wings are
love
cool.
the way it looks. It's like unique and it's really cool. And I don't know. I just like it. That's pretty much it. I just think it looks cool.
All right.
X-Wing. I love the X-Wing as well.
I do too, yeah.
I think for me, the thing that highlights for me about an X-Wing is when it goes from attack mode to non-attack mode. Like when it goes into attack mode, you know it because the wings split. And I just think that's such a cool way to like, hey, I'm about to shoot you. Like, you have a chance to run
That's fair.
or you're gonna die. And I just think it's a really cool little thing. And I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but Maul ship.
That's the Scimitar.
Oh, okay. Well,
The
that one.
Sith Enforcer. Yeah.
Yes, I like that one. And then the last one, I like the princess ship and the Naboo princess ship or whatever it's called.
Nubian.
The Nubian ship, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's Nubian make. Yeah.
Oh yes, I like that ship. I thought it was really cool.
I'm
And
just gonna leave.
yeah,
now
just
after doing that.
yeah.
I'm just gonna.
I just think it was really cool and shiny, and at the time I thought it was really cool as a little kid when I saw it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. You know what? You're right, Tanner. Sith Infiltrator, not Enforcer. What a noob.
Wow.
Wow.
Get out of here. Now you can
I
leave
should-
for sure.
I should probably leave the podcast now forever. I feel like an idiot.
See, I
Anyways,
feel
Jeremiah,
better
what
about
are your-
just not knowing the name because then I don't make
Oh, come on.
mistakes.
Dude, but I know
you
it's
know?
called the Scimitar. Anyways,
Sure.
Maybe it's actually called the Centaur. You're just getting it wrong.
nope. That's not it. That's for sure not a thing.
So I don't really have
He has to make it up on the spot. Just make them up. Just start naming ships.
one that's kind of like it's not cool because it looks kind of stupid, but like I like when they're used. It's the A-wings.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like
You literally just
said
took
that.
one of Drew's honorable
I said
mentions,
that.
and you were like,
No,
yeah,
no,
it
sorry,
It
sorry.
doesn't look very cool.
Sorry, I
mean the
did
Y
not say
wings?
right one. No, I meant Y-wings. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Because they're all letters, so they all get mixed up. So
Yeah.
Y-wing, sorry, because they kind of look janky, but like you always know when they show up, they're about to do a bombing run, and it's super
True.
intense. Like, so I like their role. I just think they look kind of
They look ugly. That's why I didn't say
They
it.
look-
But yeah.
they look ugly. They kind of like the hippie van of Starships.
Hey, I
They're just-
love hippie bands. What are you talking about? I would give my left leg for a hippie van. Dude, they're so dope. It's like a hippie bus.
you would give your left leg.
I don't need it. It's the left one, not the right
That's
one.
a little offensive to Maul, who didn't have a choice.
I would take his fake legs. They probably work better than my real ones.
Probably.
That's fair.
The claw ones when he runs around.
Can you imagine Drew?
Running around with
Oh.
those giant legs.
Welcome to Wesley Andrews. Clink, 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 clink.
What about the spider legs?
See,
That's not-
even Tanner
that's
said
not.
that the hippie butt, like the bus, is his dream car too.
Yeah, but he didn't say he'd give his left leg for
No,
it.
but you can do. I'm not going to talk about this car, but you can do a lot too in this car. You can live
Yeah,
in
but
it.
We're still on the fact that
You can live in any car.
No, but you
a
could
leg.
I'm just saying I want one that has no
Oh.
rust, and that's not a thing. But I do want
Okay.
one.
Yeah. So I guess then the other one I would think of is like the one. I guess would be the predecessor to the X-wing from the Clone Wars. They had like 6.
Oh,
three
the
ones.
Oh
R170.
yeah,
Yeah, because they had like 3 pilots in it or whatever. I think.
yeah. Those are
cool.
pretty cool.
I like the sound that they make too. And then, is it Vulture droid?
Yeah.
Is that what's called? The separatist predecessor to like the TIE fighter, I think.
Yeah. Is that a ship or is that a droid?
You're talking about the Tri-Fighters.
No,
No.
he's talking about the vulture droids.
The ones that like they fly and then like they can land and like walk.
Oh, those are yeah. I didn't think they were predecessors to the Tie Fighter though.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to. Like, I feel like
I
they
thought
look
they
like
are
that.
because they have the same. They just don't have their wings are just a little shorter.
Yeah,
There's
they kind of have
kinda-
the same design look.
Huh. All right.
You don't
I mean,
see
but
that?
Yeah, it's vote.
All right,
I mean,
those are my honorable.
But is that
mentions.
okay? My question is, Jeremiah, is that a ship or a droid? Because no one is actually
Well,
physically in it, so it's not
they're
carrying.
technically called droid starfighters.
It's a ship, so it's something that flies.
Yeah,
You
but
could,
can
you could
but-
pilot one in Star Wars Battlefront 2
well,
and get it in and out of them, and I don't know how that worked, but you could.
So is there a cockpit? That's my question.
No.
So how does that work? Is that a ship? Because technically,
But what I'm saying is-
drones are they ships? Or are they
Yeah.
drone? Yeah.
Well, they're not
I'm-
droids because they're not sentient.
Hmm.
Like modern day drones are not droids because they're piloted by humans.
True. But it's not a ship because people can't get into a ship. Like, isn't a ship like people get into it?
Not necessarily.
No.
Like an RC boat,
What's the
I'd still
definition of a ship?
I'd still consider that a ship, but you just control it from a remote.
That's a boat.
Ships
I
are
don't know.
boats.
This is a
Boats are
really
ships.
Oh, I should also mention that there are a lot of great starships in Star Wars Resistance, which you guys have not seen yet, and you guys need to watch that. So,
Jeremiah, I started watching it this last
Oh,
weekend. With
that means Andrew,
my
you gotta get on it so we can do
my
a
5-year-old
podcast on-
nephew, and my 5-year-old
season one.
nephew was way more interested in it than I was. but
Hey,
I
let me tell you
was watching.
something.
But I actually enjoy
There-
the
it
art
It
style.
gets
I
better.
like
The
the
second
art
half,
style.
first season is really good, and then season 2 is actually pretty decent. And there's a 2-episode arc in season 2 that holds its own against some of the best arcs in the other animated shows.
I
So,
honestly I like the art style a lot. I do have to say
I
that.
will tell you that I saw some ships in the StarWars.com databanks today when I was researching from Resistance. And some of them looked really cool, and then some of them looked like vehicles that people from my high school used to soup up to race on the weekends.
Well,
Which were
it is
probably pretty
about
cool.
Starfighters that race, and so it makes
Do they
perfect sense that
they don't fight?
they do. They're so the squad, the main squad in Resistance, they protect this area. They're trained fighters,
Hmm.
but during low time they do races for the people to watch.
Wow.
And
It's
so they're
the art style is really cool, and I am still gonna watch it. So I got you. Now, will you read Ahsoka book? I don't know.
I
but I'm
already
doing.
agreed to it, and here's a fun fact: I went to go buy it, and it's sold out. So
Well, you
I
did your
gotta wait
part.
till it's in
I'm doing
stock.
my part. So we're doing our parts, and Andrew's just sitting there. So
Yeah, why don't you do your part and give us your number one right now?
Okay. Drew likes because Andrew looks so uncomfortable. It's because I didn't know what was going on for a second there. Somehow that turned on me very quickly. And I
it got
just
really
was-
aggressive, and I apologize.
So Drew said he likes the X-wing.
I do.
The X-wing
Is your
specifically
number
the
one?
The T-65B is my number
Okay,
one.
what is the T-65B?
It's the one that Luke pilots.
What's the difference?
So the newer ones,
The color.
The what?
The color.
I was like, what's the
In
difference?
Star Wars Battlefront, if you play as Luke Skywalker's X-wing, it's just a black X-wing. When the other ones are like the beige color, or whatever,
Yeah.
gray color. Like,
So I
was
said,
gonna
what's
say
the difference?
color.
And he said the color.
Well, it's the type of X-wing that Luke pilots. Because there were like three or four more iterations
Oh, I didn't.
after.
Well, yeah, after.
Yeah. So and before.
Oh,
So the one that he had was a better version of the regular X-wing. Slightly better. Anyways, so I think, in my opinion, the X-wing is the most well-designed single-person starfighter in Star Wars. Here's why. It has a long-range hyperdrive.
Mm-hmm.
It has life support.
check.
Yep. So life support, long-range hyperdrive. Here's an insane thing about the engines.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know this, but what are you laughing at?
No, Jeremiah's like, like.
Okay, listen. So all four of the engines could be regulated. Power levels could be regulated for their output individually. So when Poe does that super tight turn
Yeah.
in The Last Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
so you know the little thing,
Barely,
the little like T looking thing on the
Mhm.
front of the engines. It looks kind of just like a sci-fi like air intake deal on the front of those engines. That actually provides reverse thrust. So like if an X-wing is going to take a super sharp right turn, the two right engines will automatically lower their power and
So it can-
provide thrust, forward thrust, and then the left engines will increase their power so it can do sharp turns. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
super
sick.
cool.
It's like a vehicle.
Yeah.
It's like a car. Like if you pull the
Right.
e-brake or something.
Hera does that too.
Yeah,
She does like a space drag looking thing.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
dude. X-wings are super maneuverable. Here's the other thing. So the the deflector shield generator it's directional, so it doesn't necessarily cover the whole ship super well, but it does have a deflector shield. And the crazy thing is that when the S foils are open and the wings are open, it actually, because of the way the wings work, it actually increases the shield's coverage.
It like
So
opens it
actually,
up.
It actually has more coverage when the S foils are open. Another thing is that the laser cannons have 4 modes of fire. I didn't know this, but 4 modes of fire, where it's like they do different combinations, and then there's one that they all fire in a specific order, and then the fourth one is like it's much faster, rapid fire shots in bursts, but the laser bolts are actually a little bit weaker. So they have 4 different firing modes. Like
Interesting.
these things are
That's
built
cool.
like they were built to be the ultimate rebellion ship. This isn't canon, but in the expanded universe, the guy who made the design for the X-wing worked for the same company that made the ARC 170, and the Empire actually wanted them to make their starfighters, but the Empire's deal was like, if you make our starfighters, we're taking you over, and you're going to do things our way. So that dude didn't like it, and he literally defected to the rebellion and brought the plans for the X-wing with him.
Ooh,
And then
cool.
they began to build them in secret bases in the Outer Rim at a very, very slow rate. But then they started to build up the squadrons up. And then they were so effective that the TIE Interceptor and the TIE Defender later on were direct rebuttals to the X-wing. So it was like, we need something, because they were like destroying TIE fighters left and right when they first came out. They were super effective. And then the Empire was like, we need something to combat these. And so that's why the Interceptor became a thing, at least in the expanded universe. So like, it's one of those ships that's like super iconic, and it's Star Wars. And I think people, kind of like the Millennium Falcon, you can easily take it for granted just because it's all over the place.
It's
you know?
there, yeah.
But like, when you look into how they're designed and the technology that was put in them, like it's mind blowing. Like the way that the laser cannons are angled, it increased the range of where the lasers came to a pinpoint. And so it was stated that a lot of times X-wings could fire, because of the increased range and because of how long the cannons were, they could fire on ships before the other ships were in range to fire on them.
Ooh.
So, like, from a tactical standpoint, they're super well thought out.
And they're cheaper than the TIE fighters?
No, TIE fighters
they're paper planes, dude.
TIE fighters are literally like trash cans with ion engines.
Well, they're like
Empire
the
just pumped
D1
out.
droids of
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
TIE
just try
fighters
to
were
overwhelm them
around.
with numbers.
Yeah, TIE fighter was around like 60,000 credits, and an X-wing was 160,000.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
there's a bit of a price difference, but like you got what you paid for. And like that's why Luke is able to take a run-of-the-mill X-wing, and it's like his main.
He
ship.
does
Like,
everything. He goes
right, because
Go see Yoda. He runs away.
Yeah.
He hides
And of
all of his
course-
skills. Yeah, everything.
If he really cared about his ship, he would have been lifted out of the swamp, but I guess not. So
So the other thing is that the astromech was the addition that did all of the like hyperspace calculations, and it could, if you had a good droid like R2, you could handle like minor repairs, and it would help convert power to different places and stuff like that. So it was kind of the ultimate starfighter of the day at the time. So
Cool.
There's my nerd rant.
That is. All right.
Okay.
You know it.
I think I know what it is.
Does anybody want to guess?
I want to guess.
No,
right.
not us. Like the chat should guess, because I think you guys know. I'll give like 1 second for Tanner to guess.
You know, we have other people in the chat that probably are
but
valuable.
Tanner
listeners
already
too.
got it right. So the slave one. It's amazing. I love the design of it. I think it's really cool. And the Mandalorian season 2, episode 7. Yes, episode 7.
Well, it was 6 and 7.
No, well, no, but 7 is when we see it rotating,
Oh,
and that's the
Yeah,
part
let him
that.
finish.
I thought
I
you were when it showed up. I'm like,
Oh yeah, no. When it showed up in episode 6, I was screaming at the top of my lungs. Yes, but
You
in
woke up
episode
Stephanie at like super early in the morning.
yes, correct. But when in episode 7, when it rotates and we're inside and we see it rotating, that was one of the coolest Star Wars moments of my life. I was so giddy.
Would you add that to your top 5 moments?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Oh,
Okay, so for anybody that's a first-time listener, there are two things that Drew holds above all else in Star Wars. One of them is Tatooine,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one is anything relating to Jango Fett, or not Jango Fett, Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
well, Jango Fett is related to Boba
I mean, that's
Fett, so.
shut your dirty mouth.
kind of the same
Kind of
thing. but whatever.
kind of the same person.
Anyways, but Boba Fett is like Drew's. That's his thing. Like if you anything related to Boba Fett, it could be like, what's your favorite episode of the upcoming Ahsoka show? And it's like an episode
The one that has
where
Boba
it's
in
just
it.
It's just Boba Fett like
Walking
with some
in the
toilet
background.
paper, yeah, stuck to his foot
Yeah.
or something. That would be the thing.
Yeah. I love Boba Fett. He's like the best. So, yes, I love the Slave One. The name is amazing, first of all. Like, it's just so intense. Like, when you hear the slave, like, you hear, like, oh, the Slave One is coming, like, it would probably give me chills. Like, it's such a, like, intense, scary name and kind of sad at the same time.
If I were to view that outside of the context of living in America,
Okay,
I would agree with you on that.
stop. Oh. Anyways, I just think it's a really cool ship. And like I said, the design is a design that we've never seen in Star Wars, and I don't think there's a ship out there that is similar in the sense of it's
Have you
flat.
seen Slave 2?
No, is that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
know
a
that.
thing in the expanded universe.
Well, it's not real. It's not canon.
it's-
So I'm talking about canon things. Okay. So the Slave One is the only thing that's canon that I know of that is flat, and when it launches up, it rotates midair, and it's amazing. And the noise it makes is amazing. The best sounding ship, I believe, in all of Star Wars. Also, it has the coolest bombs in all of Star Wars. And Andrew,
Seismic charges.
you would agree with me. That is true. The seismic charges are amazing. And
You ready? You ready to have your mind blown and be extremely underwhelmed?
underwhelmed.
I am.
Oh yeah. All
Sure.
right. So for everyone that is watching the Twitch stream right now, you're about to see Slave
What?
2.
Slave 2. It's not canon, so I don't know why we're seeing it. Come on. That is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Slave 2.
What is that?
Yep. There you go.
What?
Hey, but look
Slave
at
2.
that other one, the Slave 2, 3, and 4. That looks like the Razor Crest.
It does.
Yeah, a little bit. Slave 2 is like a rhombus with a wing on it. It's not even
Yeah, describe it to our listeners.
It's like
How
if the Sandcrawler and the Slave 1 had a baby.
No, it's like the slant crawler with wings. That's pretty much it.
With a
yeah,
ramp on the side. like a
with
big
one
giant
wing on one side with a ramp.
Wait, it's only on one side? I thought
Yeah.
it was just our.
No.
Oh,
And if
it's-
anybody wanted to know about Hasbro's
Yeah.
Transformers crossover line, there's a Slave 1 out there that transforms into Boba Fett.
That's so stupid.
Anyways,
Anywho's, yes.
Optimus Fett.
Optimus Fett. You heard it here first.
But
Or would it be Boba Prime?
Boba Prime.
That's a good one
ooh,
right there.
that's a good one.
That's a good Boba tea.
I was gonna
place
say
for
that
a
sounds
first
like
name.
somewhere I would drink.
Boba Prime. Yeah.
Can I get the prime? Anyways, yes, the Slave One is my favorite ship, and I think it's really cool because it's really unique to all of Star Wars ships, and even if you compare it to the Slave 2, it's even more unique because the Slave 2 is ugly as heck. So, yeah, that's my number one ship. Take it or leave it.
I'll
Yeah.
leave it.
How
Dang.
dare you?
I still can't get over the fact that you just like, if it's not canon, it's not real.
Because I thought it was like a variation of what the Slave
No,
One can do. It's
he
still
loses Slave 1 and he gets Slave 2 later.
That's not. How is that even canon? Because he.
It's not canon. It's in the expanded universe. Listen, all I'm saying is, would you rather stand by what we have in canon post Return of the Jedi right now, or something with way better stories?
That's a really good question, but the Mandalorian is
I'm not saying you have to get rid of all of it.
no. I think that's what you just said.
I'm about to start a fight, but there are so many expanded universe stories that are better than the Mandalorian.
We wouldn't know. We never read them.
All right, Jeremiah.
We lost
What's your number?
thousands of listeners, but yeah,
So, do you have any guesses on what my number one is?
Frick. It's not a trash can. It's not a gonk droid with wings on it.
it's
Just kinda like a trash can.
not.
Wait,
Wait.
if R2, since R2 can fly through space,
It's a
does that
trash
count
can.
as this?
Wait,
Trash
so
can, that's-
you're number one.
Anyone in the chat, Tanner? I'm sure Tanner has something to say. A meme-esque.
Let's see. What would your number one be? What would it be? This is genuinely something that I hadn't even thought about yet.
It has to do something with Clone Wars.
I wonder if it's Ahsoka Starfighter, Jedi Starfighter.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Or
Just go with that.
wow. Okay. Yeah. I guess we're just gonna go with that then. Ahsoka Starfighter.
Anything in the chat before I say it?
So it's not Ahsoka Starfighter then.
No, that's not true.
I don't know. I didn't say. I'm just saying if there's any other guesses.
Yeah.
No. No one's. Oh wait.
Oh.
No.
I have
Tanner
no
says,
clue.
I have no clue.
Okay. So it's the X-wing, actually.
Wow, you guys.
Yes.
So I think, like I said, like all my other answers I didn't really care about. Like they're cool,
Yes.
but they're like I don't care. Like X-wing is like the only ship that I care about. 'Cause I think
Okay.
Yes.
it is like the coolest looking. It's so dominant, and I just think it's cool.
Heck
So-
yes.
Then
Well,
That just made me. That made
and
me really
then-
happy.
Ditto all the stuff that Andrew said
I
earlier,
was
all the
gonna s-
details, because
I was gonna say
I don't have
Andrew
anything
told
else to
you
say
everything,
about it.
so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. That's cool.
I
There's
think
some-
it's probably the most like the X-wing and the Millennium Falcon are probably the two
Yeah.
iconic. Like and like I guess the basic TIE fighter, but like those are like the main three things that you think of when you think of Star Wars starships, and so I just think the X-wings are just the coolest thing.
No,
Yeah.
no. That's why it was in my honorable mentions. I just like the only reason why I didn't have that on my list is because the same reason probably why you guys didn't have the Millennium Falcon on your list, because it's kind of like
Well,
predictable.
according to Ray, it's garbage. So
But it saved her life multiple times. So anyways.
doesn't
But
change the fact that she thought it was garbage.
either way, I'm just saying, like, I didn't pick it because it's not on my list because I thought it was kind of predictable. But I do really
Dude.
appreciate it, and it's dope,
I mean,
and
but
it is really good.
think about who one of my favorite all-time characters is, and it's expanding universe
Yes.
Luke.
Yes.
You know, like, but so that one.
Is it expanded universe Luke, or is it also expanded universe Luke? Sorry, my tongue got lost. Expanded universe Luke and the Luke in the Mandalorian.
They're way more of the same thing
Exactly.
than they were. But anyways, that's really cool, Jeremiah. There are, and for everyone else listening and watching, there are. If you just go into YouTube and type in X-wing, Star Wars X-wing breakdown, there are whole videos where they like dissect, and there are multiple ships. Like they do it for there are multiple channels that do these. That's like I watched one on the LAAT and one for the Naboo. Like I watch videos on all of these ships.
There's probably one about the slave one.
Yeah,
that
yeah, there
I'll-
probably is.
I want to go watch now.
Yeah,
Sure,
there's
sure.
probably some on Slave 2 too.
Nope.
So you should go watch those as well.
Nope. All right.
You can't just pretend the expanded universe never happened.
We don't have to
We're
pretend
not-
it
what?
didn't happen.
Shut your dirty mouth. Oh gosh. Anyways,
Okay.
well, that has been our top 5 Star Wars ships for right now. Tune in next week for when we go through our top 5 Gungan vessels.
Yep.
And then the following week where we talk about
Drew's
our
like,
favorite...
is this what we agreed on? I don't remember us talking about
I was
this.
like, what?
And then the next week when we talk about our favorite speeder bike variants.
I was kind of sad, like we didn't do like just ships and or
You could have done that.
You could have said like Luke's land speeder when he's going across the thing. And
also dope. But they're not. Are they ships? Or are they vehicles? Because the bikes are amazing,
I guess a speeder would be different than a.
right? Yes, right. Speeder bike. Like, I mean,
Tanner just asked if we had ever played Super Bombad Racing. Do you know what that is, y'all?
No.
It is a Star Wars racing game. It came out before Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
And it's essentially the Star Wars knockoff of Mario Kart.
ooh, cool.
And it is, and I don't
Bomb
know,
bad?
Tanner, I don't know. I would say, because Bombad means like excellent in Gungan slang.
Oh, I thought it meant bad.
No, that's why, or like superior, and so that's why Bombad General in. Anyways, so I don't know what Tanner is going to think about this, but he said it's a classic. It is a classic, but it's also really bad. It's not great, but it's, I guess, for an attempt at a Star Wars racing game, it's all right. So,
I like the pod racing game. That was cool.
pod racing's good, and it's out on Switch and like all the more normal platforms now.
Cool. But I mean, I like pod race. Like Anakin's pod racer was really cool. Watching that.
Why didn't you put that on there?
Because it's not a ship. It's a racer vehicle. That's like saying like a plane and a car, the same thing. They're not the same thing. That's what I was basing
If we did
this
our
off
top
of.
5 vehicles, that could be
Correct.
starships, speeders.
Yes, there's
Pod
different
racers.
things.
Okay, all right. Wow. Okay. Well. Anyways, that's our top 5 ships, and next week it's gonna be a surprise.
Yes, it is. But then the next week isn't.
Right.
Yeah. So in 2 weeks on the 30th, make sure you submit your AUA questions. Ask us anything questions.
Yes.
Like, if you want to know my favorite color, you have to ask. Like,
True.
Yeah.
like you have to ask.
Or if you want to know
hear me
what.
talk about why the expanded universe is superior, you can ask that question. They're
Or
both
if,
like.
or if
we're
you
gonna-
want
we're
to
not doing
ask
that.
and see if you can see a pair of Andrew's Star Wars underwear, he might be
We are
willing to
not
show
doing
you.
that. We are not doing that.
And that's where the questions he won't answer.
How
that
committed
one.
are you to our fans? Come on. What if you doing this, like you put that as like the thumbnail on YouTube, gets us like 10,000 subscribers on YouTube?
Or banned.
Yeah, that's
It's either
a line
one.
that you're going.
If
to
you
a
were
place that I can't
guaranteed to get
follow.
10,000 subscribers by putting the thumbnail with you holding up your Star Wars Chewbacca boxers, like
Chewbacca, they're,
they're
I'm just
fuzzy.
throwing out a random thing.
it's not.
Would you do it for 10,000 subscribers if you were guaranteed to get 10,000 subscribers?
I have
Hey,
a better question. Tanner just asked, why is everyone a hater? Why aren't you open to the EU?
Hey, I am open to the EU, just not when it comes to ruining the Slave One in any way.
It's because there's so much to it, and there's always like all these different levels that they contradict each other. It's like, well, if it contradicts, then you gotta go to this level as canon. But then if this one contradicts, then
They
it's
don't
canon.
contradict each other.
See,
There's
I
levels of canon in the EU.
there is.
Well,
Because
sure,
there's
but they don't-
contradictions, and so like when there's a contradiction, you go to this level, overrides this if there's a contradiction. That's a
It's
thing.
still
It's
fun.
It is cool.
And then,
No,
and then I don't
want
want to get all that stuff confused with
Truth.
the canon stuff.
That's
So-
why I've been very hesitant. And,
And I'm not gonna
listeners
read
know that.
something that doesn't matter anymore. Like I'm gonna read something that matters.
It's true. And like I don't have anything against the EU. I think it's really cool because it was before, and there is some really good EU books that I have read that I do think is canon because they haven't fixed it yet. And you guys know this as the listeners, but there is some EU stuff that I don't want to read because I don't want to forget the canon stuff about that.
Oh.
Like, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I just
like
have.
the Thrawn stuff. If I already read a Thrawn
Yeah,
trilogy,
it's gonna mess up.
Like I don't want to get my.
We
my
already
Thrawns screwed
did
up.
read
Like,
the Thrawn trilogy, though.
I'm talking about me.
But we did. We all read it on a
Well,
podcast.
we didn't
Well,
read
that
it,
doesn't
but
that doesn't count.
I mean,
yeah, my reading of it wasn't canon.
Yeah, like I don't
So-
even remember much from that. I just remember like
go back and listen to it, Jeremiah. Where can they
could.
go back and listen to that, by the way?
you can go back in an archive on Anchor.fm/
Or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
yeah.
Just
Empire Radio.
scroll.
Yeah,
Scroll until you find it.
it's there. Or, well, not on YouTube. Wait, yeah.
Wait, is that on YouTube? Because that was back in like during the Mandalorian, so like it was.
I don't think we're up yet.
No?
Like,
Okay.
well,
I don't think it's on YouTube yet.
Okay.
but either way, guys, this was a sweet episode, and we went on a lot of tangents about EU stuff towards the end. But just don't listen to
Alright.
it because it's not canon. So
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, on that note, do you have anything else, either of you?
No.
No.
Okay.
make
Well,
sure you
like-
send in your questions. I don't think we can stress that enough.
Yeah, and I'll make for our Discord fans. I'll make a channel, text channel on there just for the Ask Us Anything stuff. So
Yes.
we
So
can keep
make
it
sure
separate.
if you guys aren't on Discord, go check our Discord. And if you are, make sure you go and send your questions there. But we do prefer voicemails too. So if you haven't sent in a voicemail yet and you've been hesitant, we really encourage you guys to do that on this episode because this episode's about you guys. It's not really. I mean, it's about us answering your questions though. But like this
we're
is
doing it for the fans.
yeah, this is a fan-filled
Right.
episode.
It'll be definitely a
and-
fantastic episode if you ask me.
Get
All right, there it is.
And on that note, you have been listening to another episode of the Empire Radio Podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
May the force be with you.